That's a little tall. Let's bring this down just a little bit. What's up, everybody? I'm not sure if many people are going to tune into this or not, but I wanted to do a live stream here on this channel. I've been wanting to do these for quite some time, and we're finally at a point where I'm going to hold myself accountable and just start doing them. This one I'm just doing on my phone, but we're going to get a much better setup to do live streams in the future. In fact, that lens is a little dirty. Clean it off. But yeah, is my all messages are really viewable. So yeah, this is just a live stream, just open shop chat. I would appreciate any comments or questions. I'll be sure to just stop whatever I'm doing and talk to you about them. I don't have a specific topic for this video today. First of all, in chat, can you guys tell me if you hear me or not? Just want to make sure everybody can hear me. Anybody? Everybody. Like I was saying when you guys weren't here, just I want to start doing some live streams on this channel, and you hear me? Cool. Everything good? Hear it well? I just want to start doing some live streams on this channel, and right now I'm just doing it on my phone, but I really do have plans to do a really nice setup. Awesome. Appreciate it. Where we're going to do more and more live streams. I just want to interact with you guys more. We do a lot of live streaming, or have in the past, on Instagram, but I think it's time to start exploring doing some of these live streams here on That Works too. Maybe even carry over to doing some on the main channel. I really just want to open things up today to whatever it is you guys want to talk about. We got a lot of big build things in the works, major videos. We just put out on the main channel, That Works, a video on Ilya making a tool that he needed for armor making while he was making his shield, and I really want to start doing some more of those too. If we find a lot of moments in our big build videos that don't necessarily make it to the cut in our videos, in the big long videos, and it's kind of one of those things where we wanted to polish things up for our major builds. We wanted to keep those videos epic, if you will, and I think it's important as we move forward to show you guys kind of the real side of what goes into all of this, not just the epicness and killer edits, but if we have a tool that we need to make for a specific process, if we have a little bit of insight, Ilya gives us a lot of insight in his videos. Hello, Chris. How you doing? Nice to have you here. Ilya gives us a lot of insight to what goes into these builds all the time in his videos, but I think we have more to share, to be honest, and I want to open it up to being able to do shorter videos that maybe only cover 5-10 minutes of making something. So that's why we started doing that. The tool isn't like overly impressive. It's cool. It's power hammer forging. Ilya's doing a lot of the bends by hand, and for people who do smithing, it's kind of overall probably doesn't change their lives too much. However, Ilya's made a bunch of different dies for the power hammer, some that slip on, some that are clap dies and can be adjusted for the material that you're using, and all those little things, you never know how it could affect somebody. They might just see it and go, oh man, I've always wanted to make that. So I think it's important that we don't just focus on the epic full-length videos, that we also do some of these tool videos where we show you guys how we do things more in depth. Because more often than not in these videos, and say the big build video making the shield, you might see a process that took 3 days, but you're probably only going to see that 3 days edited and clipped up into, 30 seconds, 1 minute, 2 minutes. So it's really kind of important to show some of the other sides of things, and that's why we did that. I have a lot of plans for this channel. I have a lot of plans for the other channel, and honestly, sometimes those plans just get interrupted with a big build, or interrupted with life, having a kid, having a family. Yeah, thank you. What's up, Cannon? That's my wife right there. So basically, I wanted to just go live for the first time. And like I said, it's just on my phone. So it's not like some big major setup to do this. But I really would like to nail down some pretty tricky, nice setups where I have myself, have Ilya, have Chris, have other people on. Maybe even do live podcast type videos. But really, just want to do it to connect with you guys on another level. You guys see us highly edited. So it would be kind of fun to do some live stuff where we're not so edited. Hopefully it doesn't get us in too much trouble, because we are kind of funny, all of us in our own way, and we say things that we probably shouldn't sometimes. But if you're just tuning in, please feel free to ask questions, make some comments on videos or projects you're working on, anything that could spark some conversation. I'd be happy to oblige. If you have questions about man-at-arms, we can talk about that. I don't really want to be perfectly honest, but we can. I'm down for whatever. I'll just keep riffing until somebody does chime in with something. So one of the things that Ilya and I have been back and forth on lately is like where the main channel should go. Like what should it be? What does it need to be? And he wants to do a lot more of his art projects, or even if they're smaller projects, original art stuff. And I highly agree. I think that's what sets us apart from other people, is working on our own art. But we're in this kind of situation where we've been known now for, I don't know, almost 10 years for making things from video games and anime and stuff. So we kind of get stuck in that rut, if you will. It's a blessing to have that rut, but we do get kind of stuck in making some of those things. So projects that we were moving forward on, we're trying to keep a good blend of it all, trying to make some of our own art, do some historical builds, also do some pop culture builds. Requests really help us out a lot, so we really do look at those. I don't know if you guys realize, but we're one of the only major smithing channels that goes through just every comment. I read every single comment. Hello from Iraq. Thanks for tuning in. That's crazy to me to hear that people from Iraq are watching us make things, but I really appreciate every viewer, and it's really cool. Honestly, I would think that I look through analytics. I'm a big analytic guy, so I'm constantly looking at the analytics on our YouTube channel. Both channels, really, but we have some other smaller channels that we're involved with that we don't really talk about, and just seeing the audience that we have is kind of wild. I would assume that most people who watch us are watching from America, Canada, England, English-speaking places, but honestly, I'm pretty sure Brazil is number 2 for us, which is a Portuguese-speaking country. I think number 3 is Germany. It's wild. It's really cool to see. A lot of Australians watch us too, and have for years. So it is one of those things where you kind of feel like your reach is pretty local. Our shop is here in Maryland, and I kind of get the feeling when I go to local events that those are my audience. But in actuality, our audience is really quite widespread, and it's just wild to have people. We sell tools. Ilya makes hammers, and I make some tools from here and there, but I mostly make bladed objects. And when we go to ship a lot of those orders, I wouldn't say quite half, but at least a third of them are going internationally. It's just kind of wild that you know, we get that opportunity to have such a breadth of people interested in what we do, interested in our videos, interested in our tools, interested in the products we make, help supporting us. It's really neat. So thanks for tuning in from Iraq. I highly appreciate you. If you're just tuning in, we're open for all questions. This doesn't really have a topic. I just have been talking about going live forever on this channel, and it's about dang time I did it. So I'm just on my phone, and we'll be up in the game real soon on different live videos real soon. One of the things that I went through last year was my ABS Journeyman Smith, and I made videos, and there's still one more video to come. In that, they didn't get a lot of views, honestly. It was kind of weird for me. I thought people would be more into it, but I think our hardcore fans, if you will, are really diehard people that are really interested in what we do. Watch those videos. Watch videos like the tool making. It's not necessarily sexy, but it really was awesome to share that journey with you guys, and I'm going to be doing more of it. Have you wanted to find out what's coming soon? Can I touch here and bring up chat more? No? I lost that one. What we got coming soon is we got another traditional katana coming sometime, hopefully. We haven't really nailed down exactly when, but probably early February. We got some more of the Mandalorian armor that we're going to make, along with Slava, the armor smith, our Ukrainian friend. So we're going to be doing some of that. I also kind of talked Ilya into doing another build from Demon Slayer, because almost half of our audience that we gained on the main channel was from the Demon Slayer katana that we made. So we're not going to do another katana, but we got something pretty cool from that show that we're going to be doing, and I think people are really going to enjoy that. I think if you're interested in historical builds, that build that's coming soon will do that. But our next build is probably going to be the chest armor from the Mandalorian. And then after that, we have a Your Edge with Ben Snur, where he shows us how he makes feather Damascus. That's a pretty short video, but I think it has a lot of value to anybody who's into smithing, or if you're just curious. And we really like to share some videos from other makers that broadens their audience and introduces our audience to other talented smiths, because there's a bunch of them. That's one of the really cool things that's happened since Ilya and I moved here to Mount Phillip Metalworks with Chris Cash, is just the fact that we've gotten to branch out and meet some more craftsmen and go to events like Maker Camp and things like that. So one of the goals that we always had from day one, which people don't really realize, but if you go back and look at some of our first That Works videos, we have been saying all along that we were going to do more videos with other people. One of our main videos at one time was the Kyle Royer video, where he made his first sword, and that really, that went crazy viral, and then kind of inspired us to do more original art. So not only are we exploring new makers and exposing you guys to them, but also it gives us perspective of what this channel can be, because up until that point we weren't sure what we were going to do. So seeing a video like Kyle Royer's sword video really inspired Ilya to document some of his personal projects and go down that rabbit hole, if you will, of making our own original art on the channel and seeing it do pretty well. I mean, we've been pretty concerned up until this point, not concerned, but focused on making videos that have at least the potential to do well view-wise. But at this point, I think it's time to start breaking away from being so concerned about how many views a video gets and more about quality content and really sharing the craft in the light that it should. So that's going to be really one of our main goals going into this next year. Going to see Chris on camera more. Look, Chris has a lot going on. I got a video that Chris will be in. I have a couple videos that Chris will be in early next year. One, we went and got a fly press together. It's not a fly press. It's a screw press, a giant screw press, and he's helped me go get it, bring it back, do some renovations. Ilya helped me. Restorations, if you will, and just fixing them up. So Chris will be in that. Chris will also, we filmed the process of him making his own flatbed on his truck, so that'll be a Chris-centric video. But really, he's got his own stuff going on. He's got a podcast to run. He does the Axe and Iron podcast, so that's up to him. He's welcome to be a part of any of our projects. But he's got tools that he's restoring. He's got a bunch of power hammers out back. He's got a bunch of power hammers out back that he's restoring, and he's always making leg vices and restoring those and getting them back out to people's shops. So anytime that Chris wants to be a part of a video, he's more than welcome. It's not like we work around him. So some of these projects are very Ilya-centric because Japanese stuff is kind of his thing. But we'll do some more general blacksmithing stuff and maybe even some tool restorations if people want to see it. So a lot of those videos didn't do very well, and we were kind of bummed out about it. But yeah, so Daniel, that's exactly what I think we'll end up doing. We're going to do some more of those because they're really fun. That if you guys saw the bridge anvil video that we did, like seems like forever ago, that was one of my favorite videos we've ever done. We went to the Center for Metal Arts and talked to Pat and got some good history on those anvils, and then brought one back that needed a lot of work. And Chris and I together refurbished that, and that's gonna be our main anvil on the outside shop. So we have the shop here that we do most of our videos on, but a lot of people don't know we built a really big building. Ilya, Chris, and I all built this big building out back that's gonna house, it's just going to be a one-of-a-kind place. We have a big steam-powered hammer that we have, and my Helve hammer that's going to go out there. We're going to build a big forge. It's just going to be one of the coolest forges you've ever seen. So it's really going to be a lot of stuff, and that's going to allow us to kind of branch out and have more workstations, so we're not stopping everything every time we want to film something. So really excited about next year and everything that's coming, and Chris is more than welcome to be involved if he wants to, and we'll just see. I think we're going to do some more video projects with Chris specifically for Axe and Iron. They at least flirted with the idea of really getting an Axe and Iron podcast, a YouTube channel going, and getting some of their videos on there, so I'm sure I'll be involved. We talked about documenting Chris and Rory going to different shops and kind of doing an on-the-road style podcast. Can I focus this on my face? No, not really. Not really. But yeah, Chris is a man, and he just has a different vibe than Ilya and I, and he balances us out well. So it's fun to have him evolved, all of those evolved words. But I think in general, we're just going to stop limiting ourselves on what we put on the channel. We're going to just do more. Steve House, who was in the Fire Pit video, if you guys have seen that. If you haven't, you should go see it. It's a pretty good video where we had a big group forging project, and Steve came over from England to help Chris run that project, and I think I'm going to team up with him, and he's going to start editing some of our videos as well. It's been tough for me, honestly. Like, one of the things I've taken a lot of pride in for That Works and That Works Too, and all the different channels and things that we do is that I did it all myself. You know, I went from relying on so many different people to make Man-at-Arms, video editors, multiple producers, and just being told what we can and can't do, and a lot of those. I was basically a producer on that show as well, but I didn't really get too much final say in what got done and how much talking was put in and what we said. And I really take a lot of pride in lighting this show, or this, all our video projects, filming them all myself, editing them all myself. So it's been really tough to get to the point where I'm finally ready to let go. But I think Steve House is probably the one to really to help get that going for us, because he's a smith himself, so he understands what that is. And Chris has actually been pushing me to get like a like junior filmographer or cameraman in here to document more of our daily stuff and have that kind of become automated, where he comes in, films, puts up a vlog. I don't even see it, just put it up, and then I can focus on making the more epic videos. So that's what I would like. If you're just tuning in, I just want to let you guys know we're open for chat, open for whatever it is you guys want to talk about. So ask questions. I have an idea of making folding knives because there are not many videos on this subject. We could do that. Honestly, it would be kind of a journey. Hey, what's up, knives? Appreciate you. Yeah, that would be kind of fun. And that would be one of those things where we've frayed from showing things that we're not doing, that we're not really proficient at. So if we did a folding knife video series, it would be you learning along with us, which would be kind of cool. I've done some friction folders before with like antler handles, and I have a pretty good concept of how that works. But as far as like actual folding knives, like tactical-esque modern folding knives, none of us here have really done that. So it would be fun to kind of bring you along with us, kind of Alex Steele-wise, how he kind of does a lot of things for the first time. So I would like that. How did I start out smithing? Stacho says. So my story is like not the sexiest story, and I always kind of feel bad telling it, because I'm not, a lot of people who pursue this craft really have a lot of hardship and put in hard years and like really try to find someone to teach them and to apprentice under. Well, Carrie is 19 years older than me. So when I was in high school, I needed a job. It goes back a little further than that. I made my first knife in 8th grade hanging out at Carrie's shop, but I needed a job in high school, and I kind of just, Matt, you need to trim your beard just a bit. Get out of here, Jim Austin. So, yeah, I do, though. You are right. It's a little bushy. So I needed a job in high school, and just my mom was like, just go talk to your brother and ask him for a job. And eventually, I didn't, but eventually I did. And I started out there mostly wire wheeling rusty armor, and we, at that time, were in a old mill building in Ellicott City, Owella, actually, Maryland. And it was a damp basement, and we used to make kind of mid-grade, munitions-grade armor for like SEA and things like that and sell it at the Renaissance Festival. Well, that armor would get rusty because we were in such a basement full of dew and all kinds of it. I see your comment, Jim. I see it. And that armor would just keep rusting. By the time I finished wire wheeling the pile, I'd have to start back over. So I did a lot of that for months. And then I got into making some axes, made a lot of axes for the Maryland Ren Fair. That would have been in like 1998, 99. Really got into that. By the way, if you give this video a thumbs up, kind of helps boost it out. So if you could like this video, that'd be cool. So I started out making axes, did that for a whole season of the Maryland Renaissance Festival. After that, back in those days, Kerry would kind of stop making stuff, and he would become like more of a fab shop. He made air conditioning frames for a company in Baltimore, did a lot of that to pay the bills. So we were kind of in the middle of that, where I wasn't there all the time. And one day I remember he got a phone call from a fight group in Florida that needed a bunch of cutlasses, custom cutlasses with skull pommels that we used to do, and all the other guys that were in the shop weren't available to jump on that project. So what ended up happening is I started grinding sword blades, like right then and there. Now I had spent endless hours literally just leaning up against the wall watching Carrie grind swords and kind of thinking about how I would do it if I was going to do it. There's a lot of different techniques that I use where I really use more leverage than he did. He used a lot of his hands, and I did a lot more pushing and pulling and using leverage. I thought about the whole process more of an athlete than I think he did, and I was able to kind of, don't get me wrong, I sucked for a long time, but I was able to grind a whole bunch of swords and kind of got stuck in that, and I thought I would do this for a summer or two and then move on to other things. I went to school for all kinds of different computer stuff. I did CAD work. I thought I'd be an engineer or architect. I thought at one point I would do some A+, Net+, computer networking stuff. I went to Test Technology Institute and got all that. Sounds like average little brother watches his older brother while thinking I could do that better. Yeah, exactly. That's what it was. I usually do stuff. I missed that last comment. Sorry. But yeah, so I did all that. I went to school in the early 2000s and went to college. I also went to Test Technology Institute, like I was saying, got my A+, Net+ certification. Did about a day and a half of working for Verizon. They didn't want me to go right into networking. Everybody had to start off as help desk people, so I did that for a day. Was miserable, telling people to check their plugs, and then get hung up on, and everybody was so rude, and it was miserable. So like halfway through day 2, I was just looking miserable, and my boss came up to me and said, you know, like, you look miserable. Like, I know you were like top of your class and whatnot, but that's just what it is. Will you be doing a series and build martial art weaponry like Shaolin and the rest of the legendary groups would be? Yeah, we can do some of that. One of the things that we have always talked about is doing some stuff with, God dang it, I forget his name. Anyway, we have some Chinese sword people here, local, that we want to work with and do some of those kind of builds. So yeah, history builds are like our favorite because we get to play with. So our take on historical builds. So like if you watch somebody, this is no dig on anybody by the way. If you watch a channel like Alex Steele, no one makes educational videos on Spanish. Yeah, that'd be cool too. We wouldn't mind doing that. I don't even know what I was saying. Oh, the history builds. So like, history builds are cool because we approach them differently than other people. Other people say, I'm making a Zweihander, and they make some Mosaic Damascus big sword and call that a historical build. But the way we approach it, what's up, Cooking with Squirrel? How you doing? The way we approach historical builds is if it's going to be a historical build, we should try to make it with some historical techniques or use historical materials or methods, or at least have like a history expert on to talk about it, unless it's something that we're familiar with, Ilya or myself, where we'll do the talking ourselves. But historical ones are always really good. Anyway, back to my story. So I did that, and it always kind of came back to me working at Ball, Knife, and Sword. So it kind of, I did that for like 10 years, thinking I would always go somewhere else and do something else, but it ended up me being always back in the position, Ren Fair times, and like just making things. So it wasn't until I was like 27 or 28, I think, where I kind of really gave into the fact that this is something that I'm going to be doing for the rest of my life, and kind of embraced it. I followed it for a long time. So around then, I just kind of dove in and made it my full-time gig. I hadn't made like a penny to my name up until that point. I literally worked for pennies, so that was like awful. What was the most challenging build for you guys? So we get asked all the time, what are the most challenging builds? I think there's 2 or 3 ways you can look at challenging builds. One is the sheer size, something like Optimus Prime sword, or some of these big pieces you see behind me. Those are always really challenging just because of sheer size. Pyramid head sword, grinding something that's like, 100 pounds or whatever, 50 pounds even, is a lot. Like the big axe we made here from Monster Hunter, grinding those bells are always a pain, and then we got to figure out how to heat treat something big without making the oil or whatever explode. So that's always a trick that we have to figure out. And then there is like the complexity of a build. It could be a really small piece but be super complex. So, hi. So some of those are really difficult, like making a traditional Japanese sword. That's super difficult. So there's that, and then working with materials such as Tamagami, bloom steel, crucible steel, like to Ulfbert, things like that. That's a whole nother level of challenging. So it's like I kind of put them in these categories of like what's the hardest. So I used to say like Optimus Prime for the size, or Great Sword of Artorias for the size, things like that. But really, I think like the Kill Bill katana or the Tanjiro katana would be. I didn't really play much of a role in those things at all, except for filming them. But those are really difficult. Great story. You also said putting up videos, beginner smithing channels. Can I volunteer? I'm 17-year-old armor, blacksmith, Poland. I mean, yes, that's a good idea. I think the international part, like honestly, people think we make a lot of money, man. I don't have enough money to like fly somebody over from Poland and put them up for a while and teach them how to do things. But I think you could get the same value if we did it with somebody local, where we worked with somebody and taught them things. And I think that's one of the things that I wanted to explore with Ilya about me learning how to engrave, was him like teaching me how to engrave in a video. So that would help him put knowledge upon you, because I'm learning in real time and I'm going to be asking questions that you would have asked. So I think there is value in having some beginner smiths come and learn with us in real time that you would get. It would be kind of like a first-person experience, almost VR experience of you getting to learn from us because we're teaching somebody else, and it would help us really think through the processes of what we have to do for beginners. Instead of just like designing a video that is made for beginners, it would just naturally happen. So that's a good idea. I'm not saying no to you. Maybe we can talk. I don't know. It just, the logistics of it all can kind of get complicated. If you're just tuning in, feel free to ask any questions about me. If I can answer them about other stuff, smithing, non-smithing, video games, I don't care what it is. We can chat it up. Beard care, you want some beard care? My real secret is just conditioner, to be honest. I'd be down to pop up and do a test run of that since I'm local. Yeah, we could do some of that. That's possible. I'm really enjoying the armoring videos. The buckler video was awesome. Yeah, I'm really proud of the buckler video. I mean, video-wise, I think it just was a really fun project to do, and I think we'll be doing a lot more of it. We have plans of doing more historical armor. We also have plans to finally do things, some armor builds that people have asked for a long time. We'll just see. We'll see where it goes. Our schedule, we like kind of put a bunch of things on a list that we're going to do. And more often than not, to be honest, like maybe some new game will come out and they want us to make something from it, sponsored or not sponsored, and things kind of evolve organically. What was the shortest amount of time you guys had to build something in a certain time frame? So here at That Works, we only really get bogged down on time frame when there's a sponsor and they want something by a certain time. For the most part, we work on it till it's done. So we're not really bogged down on time too much on that. Sometimes we put a time limit on ourselves just to make sure we get stuff done and don't drag our feet. Chris is always on us to get stuff done quicker. But back in the Man-at-Arms days, we did 6 builds in about 8 days. 8 film days. So everything you saw in a 6-build season on Man-at-Arms was filmed in 8 days. There would be a weekend built in there where there was no filming, so we would do a lot of catch-up. So technically you could say 10 days, but from 10 days was it. And once we did like a 12-day thing for a special sponsor, but Man-at-Arms was grueling, and I'm sure they still are grueling, which I really don't understand why they don't just take more time and finish things. I always suggested with Man-at-Arms to do like 2 days on, 2 days off, 2 days on, 2 days off. You're paying the crew the same amount of time. There's a little bit more dollars in equipment rental as far as like camera equipment rental, but in general you would be you'd be getting more finished products that were less rushed and better. So, yeah. If you're just tuning in, please feel free to ask any questions, spark any kind of conversation you'd like. I'd appreciate a thumbs up on the video. There's only 10. There's probably been like 60 people in and out. So a couple more thumbs up would be awesome. When are you going to drop more hammers? We drop several hammers every week. I don't know if they're sold out right now. They might be. But right now, we don't post hammers for sale unless they're complete. There's like a bloody ton of forged hammerheads around here that are heat treated, I believe. So Ilya's just got to complete one of the projects he's doing. He's making a custom scabbard, and then we'll get back to doing some woodwork. Honestly, Ilya is making them start to finish now. I just box and ship them. Blade Show 23, yeah, for sure. We'll be at Blade Show. That's going to be a staple that we're going to be at every year unless something drastic happens. So I'll be, in the spring, I'll be putting together a couple knives and one nice sword and putting a lot of thought into what my projects are going to be for that. I think my main goal for that is, since last year I got my JS, my Journeyman Smith rating from the American Bladesmith Society, I should say, is that I want to show that I can do Master Smith level work. So I'll probably have a couple knives there that are like Mosaic Damascus, very, very ABS Master Smith-esque, and see if I can do it. And I just kind of want to show that I'm serious about going down that path. I do have the ability to test for Master Smith in 24. It'd be kind of cool to test with a bunch of the people that I tested JS with. So we'll see. Franco Knives is one of my mentors, or at least was for a while, and he recommended that I do it in 3 years and not 2 and really take the time to learn more. So we'll see. But we're definitely going to be there, and we're definitely going to have some kick butt stuff, and Ilya will probably have some crazy carved something that he's made or a piece of armor. So, yeah, definitely Blade Show 2023. So if we're not going to get any more questions, I'll get back to the story. Just like basically 28, I decided I was going to do that. I finally started making okay money, getting paid a little bit of money, asked for a regular paycheck, started working regular hours, because up until that point it was like work all the hours you can and see where it goes. And then in my early 30s is when Man at Arms started, and then, been on for that. Can't wait to see my 2023 entries. Yeah, me too. I'm definitely going to do a big sword, or at least a sword. I've planned this like short leaf blade sword that was kind of like a gladius, but more kind of iron aged, but more my kind of idea. Unfortunately, like Peter Johnson started doing some of that, and just nailed it. So now I have a real high bar set in front of me to do some of those early Iron Age type swords. So, but I've always been interested in Iron Age stuff, but do it in like a mosaic. I had an idea for a keyhole sword. So maybe all of those things will get combined into one, and we'll have one epic project that way. I'd like to have at least 1 or 2 knives with some, even if it's simple engraving, but I've not practiced engraving now for a couple months. So I need to get back on that and really make sure that's a path I want to go down. I think it is, pretty sure. If you're just tuning in, all chat is welcome. Questions, comments, anything that I can possibly answer, I'll give a try. What's my favorite steel to work with? If you're talking about blade material, we here almost exclusively work with ADCRV. I think ADCRV is one of the only steels out there that's readily available that is designed for blades. Everything else has just been, we learned how to work with it to make blades. Most of it's made for structural stuff, bolts, and the heat treating is meant for thick cross sections, but ADCRV is meant to be heat treated in blade form. So I love ADCRV. Have you at That Works made the Beastmaster triple blade sword? If so, nope, we haven't made that. Any experience with Magna Cut? Nope, no experience with that. We're always game to try new material, and I think Ilya prefers to make things out of, bloomery steel and steel that he's made himself. So we do a lot of crazy stuff. But I think 80 CRV is the one I would recommend to most people because it's made for it. You learn how to work that steel, you can pretty much do anything. All y'all planning to build anything from willow? I would love to. I'm watching it. I'm enjoying it. I think it's a fun show. I don't know if I can get Ilya on board, but even if I can't, maybe I'll do something. I thought about the big cleaver sword, but we'll see. I love how 80 CRV2 grinds. Yeah, I guess, I don't know. Any tips for welding by hand? Unfortunately, power hammer, blah, blah, blah. Lana says, hi, Dada. Hi, Lana. 80 CRV kind of grinds the same as everything else. I don't know. Like, if you use fresh belts, unless you're grinding something like titanium or AR 500, something that's highly abrasion resistant, I guess, then that becomes an issue. But yeah. What's up, mate? Is there something you'd like to cast that you haven't yet? Yeah, I mean, the same thing I've said for like 10 years. I want to make Inigo Montoya's rapier Inigo Montoya from Princess Bride. I like to make the father sword, the rapier. I don't know, man. I still haven't done a Gladius on the channel, which is weird because, like, Gladius is like my all-time favorite sword for a while. I really kind of got uninterested in swords, to be perfectly honest, over the last couple of years. But I'd like to get back into that, so we'll see. I use 1095, 01, A2, 86. Do you enjoy working with bronze? If no, how come? Yeah, I mean, like, dude, we've worked with so many different kinds of steels, but the reason we stock 80 CRV over, say, something like a 5160 is because 80 CRV can be stacked up with 15 and 20 and made into Damascus, or it can be forged right out into a mono steel sword. So I don't see the point of stocking multiple kinds of steel here that can't be used in a billet. So we just stick with 80 CRV. We buy about twice as much of that as we do 15 and 20. And then if we need to make a billet, we have that steel here ready to go, and we know what it is. We know how it heat treats. It gets super hard. You can temper it back to whatever you want. We also always have 1045 here to make tooling out of, to make our hammers. We use S7 for different. Do we use S7? Yeah, I think it's H13. We stock H13 for a lot of hot tooling, punches and stuff like that. It's air cooling steel, so you can get those hot when you're working them and just let them air cool when they get hard again. So H13. But as far as blades go, I mean, we have customers being like, I want this out of 01, and I heard 01 is the best. It's like, okay. Usually we'll just say, I'm not interested. Honestly, we get enough work that I don't really want to mess around with things that I'm not familiar with. So I've recently done my first bohe with a Dremel, but there's a lot of an easier way to recommend the grooves. You can make yourself a hand scraper. You can use a full ring jig like I use. A lot of ways. I like 80 CRV2. Can you hard and nice blade or tough for larger blades? So 80 CRV2 will get like a maximum hardness on a Rockwell scale. I don't even know what the maximum hardness is, but you can max out a Rockwell tester with 80 CRV. You can literally get it too hard. In fact, my very first Blade Show sword, we've talked about it, was a Gladius where I did like a diamond, mosaic diamond captured around with 80 CRV, and we heat treated that, and I got it. It pinged out at like 70 on a Rockwell tester. I did my best to temper it back, but I ended up actually overheating the blade a little in the polishing, and yeah. And actually cracked it. So I did grind some scoops, ground the crack out, and then tempered it again and use it. So air, yeah, it happens. Air hardening steel for blades. So yes and no. There are stainlesses that people are using for kitchen knives where you heat treat it by heating it up to a temperature, and then you clamp it between two aluminum plates and clamp it. And some people even use like compressed air and blow it on there to quench it, and you don't actually ever quench it. Those seem, I haven't played around with it much, but I know guys that do and swear by it, and they're people that I trust and that are industry professionals. So yeah, there are a lot of different air hardening steels that you can use. In my opinion, what I know from blades and martensite and all bayanite and all the different things that form during heat treating, I think you want a quenchable steel for most knives. I just think you do. But there's a lot to be played with there, and that might be a good video. Like, what's the best steel for knife making? But it seems kind of a silly question to try to answer because every knife is designed and intended for a specific use, and if you aren't, if you're trying to generalize what's the best for this for a knife, like, it's just not going to happen. A kitchen knife is much different than, say, a kukri, which is a kind of a cleaving, heavy-backed blade that's made for literally cutting limbs, and then you got something like a machete that's thinner, that should flex a little, but needs to be able to cut through brush, and then you have hunting knives, which have to be almost as sharp as a kitchen knife, but durable. Yeah. What's the worst injury you've gotten while working? I've been pretty fortunate, honestly. The worst that I've gotten is like Carrie used to buy a bunch of belts on eBay that were used, and those belts could have been sitting on somebody's shelf for years, and the joints where the belts glue together weren't always good. So once I got a 36 grit that half broke, and when they break all together, you usually just get whacked once, and it's a loud pop and it's scary. But when they half break, there's still half of it kind of wrapping around whacking you, and I got road rash just wearing a t-shirt across my chest really bad once. That's kind of the worst. There are best choices for specific applications. Yeah, for sure. Like, it's just one of those questions you get when you do panels and stuff is, what's the best steel? And there's so much. What steel gives you the most pronounced hamon for your knives and swords? And ADCRV, certainly you can get hamons. I think like W1 and W2 is still probably the best. Ilya would say they're idiot-proof. You basically can draw on them with a clay or a frog skin or whatever you're using. And hey, Matt, the kiddo says, hello, how you doing? So yeah, I get, 80 CRV. We'll do hamons, 1095, 1075. Really, you want water quenching steels. You want something water quenching, and W series has traditionally just been that. You guys don't mind taking a second, thumbs up the video, like it, appreciate you. But yeah, I think W2 is always going to be. That's full because I'm an idiot. I can funk up anything. Yeah, I mean, I guess you could, but with W series, it's really easy. You could make your clay resist out of anything you want. You could use pure ash and water with a little bit of charcoal ground up and make a clay, and clay up the back of your knife and quench it in water, and you're going to get a hamon. You could probably draw on it with a Sharpie and get a hamon. That's how crazy easy it is. It's more about the temperature that you quench at being safe not to crack it. So you got to learn that kind of stuff. And a lot of the things that you learn are counterintuitive. Like, you want to preheat your oil before you quench in it, because the hotter oil is, the more viscous it is, the more like water it becomes. But you actually don't want to preheat your water at all, because the hotter the water it is, the quicker it will boil and create a steam jacket around your piece and it'll quench slower because there's a steam jacket. Also, it'll violently bubble unevenly against your blade, creating warps, potentially creating cracks. Oh, there's a lot of little things you gotta learn. Each review is amazing. Yeah, steels are specifically designed for blades. Yeah, if I'm gonna recommend a steel for someone to start with, I didn't have access to ADCRV or ADCRV2 or whatever, CR, blah, 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 whatever, any of those steels when I was starting. So I tried a whole bunch of different stuff, and You know, now that that stuff is readily available, you can get it from Aldo, you can get it from just about any knife making tool supply, pop supply, any of those people. Do it. Yep, you want your water room temperature if you're quenching with it. Yep, you certainly do. Right about room temperature. I mean, today the room is a little cold. I don't know if you can tell, but yeah, right about room temperature. I've even done some things where I've put ice in the water and kept it cool. So a lot of different ways you can keep your water the proper temperature, but also like your forge temperature. Are you heating with a kiln? Are you dialing it in perfectly? Are you eyeballing it? Have you eyeballed enough steel to know? If you haven't, are you checking your temperature with a magnet? A lot of people don't know that around, I think, 1450, steel becomes non-magnetic, so you can kind of take your blade out, check it against a magnet. As soon as it's not magnetic, you know you're close in the ballpark of your desired goal for your quenching material, and then you just learn the materials. Every 4 degrees, I think, really makes a strong difference. So if something's ready to be quenched at, say, 475, and you quench it at 1475, and you quench it at 1480, that's enough of a variant that you're not going to be in optimal range. So you got to really train your eyeballs, and experience is just the way to do that. You could also go to a shop that has access to a kiln and pull material out at the desired temperatures and really try to learn that. But there's so many variables even in that. Like, we have sunshine that shines in from the cracks of our front doors here at the shop. Well, depending on where the sun is during the day, that steel is going to look different temperature than it would if it was in pure dark. So absolute optimal heat treating, if you're doing it by eye in a coal forge or a propane forge, is to have all the lights off, have all the sun blocked, have your window drapes down, and have it as dark as you can so you can get a true idea of it. Once again, I break those rules all the time. Ilya breaks those rules all the time because we've done it for a long time. We know our shop. We know the time of day. We know what things should look like, and we get away with quite a bit. Experience makes up for a lot, but also knowing your tools is very important as well. Yeah. Anyway, back to my story. So I kind of got stuck, started doing man-at-arms, and did that for, 6 years. Then we started the That Works channel after 2 years because of Defy Media went bankrupt, and just all that bad shit happened, excuse my language, and it snowballed, and Carrie wanted to wait around for someone to buy the company, and Ilya and I just kind of decided we wanted to make a channel, and we started doing that at Ball Knife and Sword. The kind version of that story is that we just kind of outgrew it, and it became conflict of interest for Carrie to have us there and for us to be there, and a lot of different bad tensions and things that didn't need to happen happened, and we just ended up leaving and coming here, and now we've been here for 3-ish years, I think, maybe going on 4. I don't even know anymore, but we've been here for a while, so that's how I got started. That's my hour-long rant back and forth with questions answered about how I got started. Anybody have anything else you guys want to spark some conversation about? We've been doing this almost an hour, and I'm willing to go however long you guys want. I appreciate any of you that have stuck through this and watched it. I also just want to once again say we got some really good content on the That Works channel, not this channel, but the main channel. If you haven't checked it out, we could use all the support, all the likes, all the comments. Every comment on every video really boosts the signal of our videos. So if you have time to run over there and comment on the new videos, it really helps a lot. Advice on starting YouTube. Oh, Josh, I think that might be a brand new video where I need to do it from the top. What has the hardest project you worked on? Kind of answered that. So difficulty on projects kind of range from different categories. Like how big was it? The size is a complication. How intricate is it? That's a complication. I'd say difficulty is measured by size and complexity. So Japanese stuff is always probably the most complex, but also like things like Great Sword of Artorias, stuff like that is big. What company do you use for your beard care? Whatever my wife buys me. I pretty much, I use beard oils every once in a while, but pretty much shampoo and conditioner. The conditioner is super important. For me, my hair is actually quite thin, so I need to keep it conditioned. As far as YouTube, though, let's hold the comments for just a second so I don't miss any. If you're going to start a YouTube channel, you just have to be willing to grind, man. It's really difficult these days. You used to be able to share your content on Facebook and stuff, and now Facebook blacklists YouTube links or any links that link people outside of Facebook. So it's really hard to like share your videos and get built that way, but you really have to be willing to grind. The number one thing that I would recommend, and I'm still learning to somebody getting started, is the number one most important thing to a YouTube video is the thumbnail. If the thumbnail stinks, no one's going to click it, and they're not even going to care how crappy your video or how good your video is. If they don't get to it in the first place, then you're screwed. So you got to get people in to watch your videos first. So thumbnail is the number one most important thing. And you're just going to have to watch some videos on what makes a good thumbnail, because everybody has a different opinion. But definitely thumbnail. And then my other advice for new people doing smithing videos is to get right into the action. Don't spend, like what I'm doing here, don't sit here talking about what you're going to do forever. Show them in the first few seconds. Show them content. Show them, my wife's building her own channel right now too. So like she's not doing smithing, but she is doing some crafting. So like whether she's doing event coverage or she's doing, why is my battery getting low? Because I am plugged in. Whatever. No matter what it is, you want to get right into the content. You need to show them some flashy footage in the very beginning and just get them in, get them watching, because they will click off really quick. 50 to 60% of your viewers will actually leave your video within the first 5 seconds. So think of your video as I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 that quick to change somebody's mind to keep them there. So your thumbnail, number one. Number two is first 5 seconds. And then number three is make good content. You're going to make crappy content at first. My videos still suck really, but like my first 30 videos were horrible. But just start. You have to start. And then the fourth thing, the fourth rule is to end your video quickly. Don't show your end project and then do some long out talk. Do your talk before you show your end, because if once you show the end of a project, people click out. So you want to like show the beauty shot, maybe do your demo, whatever, if you're doing it like me, and just say, all right, thanks for watching. Check out this video here. Boom, out. Because you can look at your analytics and see where the viewers drop off, and wherever that drop off is, start looking at your analytics. Every video you put up, look at your analytics. See where you're losing viewers and trim that fat. Trim the fat. The other thing about YouTube, there's so much to talk about. So the rule of three, title. So YouTube is just a giant search engine. Every text you can enter in is searchable. So your title, you want to have some keywords in that title. You want to repeat those keywords in your actual description of the video. Rule of three, get them 3 places. Boom, boom, boom. And then one thing that people don't know is the actual title of the video itself, the name of the file that you upload, is another bit of text. So name that file something that's relative to your keywords to help it push it out. If you have time, fill in the captions for your videos. If you fill in the captions and don't just let YouTube auto-generate the captions, you have a better shot of YouTube picking up those words in your captions to help your search engine. So I'm very passionate about that stuff. I actually want to start doing some live panels at events where I help people start YouTube channels. So that's something that we can dive down, and we can do some specific live streams talking at it if people really want to. And feel free to message me and ask me questions, because I will try my best to help. Just know that I'm going to give you stuff that I've learned, but I also constantly, every couple weeks I go down new dives about, how to make YouTube better. And YouTube is constantly evolving. So if you're going to make a YouTube channel, you're going to want to start paying attention to the changes that YouTube makes every few months. Like they're making a huge change right now. It doesn't really matter how many subscribers you have, which is kind of refreshing and awesome for people that are just trying to get started. Because is that not plugged in? Yeah, it's plugged in. So so what they're going to do, say you have 50 subscribers. Your video goes out to those 50 people. How it performs with those 50, YouTube then decides it's going to bump it out to the next level. Maybe it'll bump it out to 100 people that aren't subscribed to your channel. If it does well there, they'll bump it up to 1,000. And there's like these stages. So you want to do well with your key audience first, and then it'll test more, and it'll give you a bigger audience. So that's like one of the big changes that's come. Also, YouTube Shorts, man. You want to build a channel, start making YouTube Shorts. Learn how to hook people with Instagram Reels and YouTube Shorts and TikTok, that style of video, which you can do classy. You don't have to like sell out and make corny videos for YouTube Shorts, but YouTube Shorts really have helped grow this channel significantly compared to anything else. And it was that doesn't help your monetization goals on YouTube, but starting right now, actually, I think starting first of the year, you can get monetized with shorts. So focus on shorts to get started, make some full-length videos, but shorts are a really quick investment. You can make a short in 1 hour, film yourself making something, and get up there quick. I know a lot of content creators. To me, it seems like a never-ending grind for them. I'd imagine you eat, sleep, and breathe YouTube, understanding the point. I would hope that if you're making a YouTube channel and you want it to be your business or even a side business, that you'd really pay attention and really constantly learn and evolve yourself as a creator. I'd hope so. I know some people that I'm kind of related to that don't seem to know how to evolve, but yeah, evolve. Learn big intros to your videos, like Man at Arms style. People are gonna skip through that these days. Maybe they won't because it's Man at Arms or some other show, but for general, don't do some big title screen. Just get right into the action. Those first 5 seconds are so important. Okay. That's enough about YouTube. I think that's enough in general. That was over an hour. I appreciate you guys. This has been fun. I'm willing to answer a couple more questions if you have some before I go. I'll stick around for about 5 more minutes and answer those. Please like this, comment below what kind of topics you'd like to hear in another live stream so I can be prepared and have some talking points ready to go. In general, though, I think a lot of these are going to be pretty fluid and we're just going to roll with it. And we'll have Ilya on for some of them. We'll have Chris on for some of them. We'll have other people on for some of them. My wife might join me and give you guys an inside look at that. So we'll see. Thanks, Josh. Appreciate you, bud. Thanks for coming in. And if you guys want to use anything that I've said in here, I'm going to make this video actually live on the channel so you'll be able to look at it anytime. Thank you, Matt, for the live discussion. No problem. I really appreciate it. I appreciate all of you. I hope if you're celebrating a holiday, this holiday, Christmas, Hanukkah, whatever it may be, I hope you spend it with the people you love and you have a very great one. Whether you are blessed to give and get many gifts, or if you're just going to cherish the time you have with your loved ones, I just wish you all the best. And thank you for the years of support and allowing me to do what I love, both on YouTube and creating things. So I really appreciate it. Hey, Matt, you said that we contact you to ask you some tips and tricks on YouTube. Where can we do it? Instagram's pretty good. Thank you for your time. Have a good day. Definitely should do these lives more. Happy holidays. I think we will. Red Wolf. And like I said, like, if I'm the one doing them, like, I'm willing to go anywhere. So if you guys have a specific thing you're working on or you want some tips and tricks, I love giving it. All right, I think we're just going to end it there. I appreciate you guys. Happy holidays. Merry Christmas. Happy Hanukkah. All those good things. And yeah. Let's do some more. Thank you all. Looking forward to the next build. Me too. But make sure you go over to the main channel, youtube.com/thatworks. Check out our latest builds. Give them a thumbs up, give them a like, give them a share. Share them. If you share one of our videos, man, I'm super grateful because it's really hard to get shares these days. And I just appreciate you all. It's been a fun ride, and I hope to keep doing it for you guys for many years to come. Take it easy.